of the body, so to speak. You see, it's almost like the body is making them. And it's true. And that's what Rav Zalman is alluding to. And the Ramchal talks about this too. He says the Yetzer Hara is really, he really comes from the goof, the body. Because there's a body, there's a Yetzer Hara. It's linked, you see. In many ways, the body is the Yetzer Hara. And that's why we have body and soul, because we have Yetzer Hara and Yetzer Tov, which is really the source of the soul. What is the soul, actually? The Yetzer Tov. So it's body and soul, Yetzer Tov and Yetzer Hara. So here's what I'm getting at. When the body, well, let's say this, when the Yetzer Hara feels this anger and this depression and this laziness and all this stuff, all of a sudden, the body, which is that, feels it. The body is connected to the Yetzer Hara. Okay? So when the Yetzer Hara himself, the Satan, he's an actual being, when he feels these things, because he feels it, that's what he's made of. When he feels these things, all of a sudden, since he's part of our body and our body is part of us, we feel it. We feel these things. Which means, when a person all of a sudden gets angry, or scared, or anxious, you have to realize, that's not me. That's somebody else. Somebody else is getting scared, but since he's clung on to me, I'm feeling it, as though I'm the one who's angry. But it's not true. Push him off. He's not you. All those negative traits are not you. It's somebody else. But since he's in us, we feel his things. You see? We feel his traits, but they're not ours. We're really the neshama. So we have to realize, and this is how you get rid of the Yetzer Hara. Step one is to catch him. You see, when you're angry and sad and all these crazy thoughts, that is what we're miserable about, to just kind of snap in and say, wait a minute, this is not me. I really don't feel this way. It's really somebody else who's impinging his thoughts on me. That already pushes him already almost out. Just to do that. Because it's like you've cleared yourself of it. Just to have a clear mind of what's going on is the cure. You see? Try that. Next time you have that kind of a feeling, think that. And you'll see it does wonders. It's like I'm free of it. I don't have to be this crazy person who's angry and depressed and all those things. It's somebody else. Let him have it. And that's how you go about it. Now once we get rid of that, happiness comes in. Because God is happiness. He's sadness. When we let him in, of course, what let him in the first place? Obviously sin. Sin is really what lets him in. But you got to get him out. Doing mitzvot and Torah is really all the things that bring Hashem in. But just have this kind of an idea, like I was saying, this is kind of Torah talk. Because this is Torah learning. When you say it's not me, I'm really part of Hashem. He's not me, and all that kind of thing. It's really... in many ways, the whole Torah is about that. So when you're learning Torah and you have that in mind, that is how you are evicting that evil force from us. And then Hashem can dwell in us. And then it's a state of bliss and happiness. Now, one last point. Also, what fits into this is the idea of zivug, marriage. Now, Rabbi Shimon Kessin was a teacher of mine. He says that in the Messianic time, which is hopefully now, one of the main things that we're going to see is a correction of zivug and shalom bayit. Because when the zivug, when husband and wife are at odds with each other, it's really because of the galut also, the exile. But when husband and wife come together and there's happiness and shalom and peace, actually there's peace first, then there's happiness. Peace is just no sadness, no fighting. But then you can get to simcha, happiness. That's simchat bayit. There's shalom bayit, and then simchat bayit. That's what he says. So when we see that, it's going to be a clue that we're getting to the Messianic days, because when Mashiach comes, it is that bonding of Kabbalistically what's called the Yesod and the Malchut, which is the male and the female in all ways. So it means there's harmony between the husband and wife. How does that connect to what we said here? Because what is a wife considered? A bayit, the household. The same thing, the bayit, the same way Hashem and us, Israel. Hashem dwells in us, we are like the house. So the same thing, the woman portrays that idea by being the house, so to speak, of her husband. You see? So when the husband and her are dwelling together, they make like a model of the bigger picture where Hashem will now dwell, so to speak, in both of them. You see, they're like a mini model of the bigger picture, which is Hashem and the people. So a little husband and wife is like a little mini model of Hashem and us. Okay? So when Hashem and us are getting together, and that's at the Yemot HaMashiach, because it means we brought him back, we're not throwing him out anymore. So husband and wife scenarios will all of a sudden also be completed and be fixed and mitukan. And just again, a closing thought, I was speaking to a friend of mine, Mr. Aaron Lepel, and we were talking together thinking that one of a great idea would be maybe for something of if there would be an awareness either on the rabbinic level or even on the people level of helping people to get married. You know, zivug, it's not just to help the marriages that are already existing to keep their marriage, but also what about the singles? Helping the singles to find their match. All this has to do with the Geulah and about husband, wife, tenant, household type of idea like we've been saying. So Bezrat Hashem, this could be a beginning step. If anything like this comes out, it would be something that would be definitely heading towards a Messianic era where we see that Shalom Bayit is going to be fixed, like I said, Bezrat Hashem.